Hi everybody, I'm Jerry Paul and I'm an indie author and welcome back to my channel. I write young adult fiction across a variety of genres, and if you think that might interest you, then think about subscribing below. As most people who have watched this channel for a while will know, I am always juggling multiple projects. Right now I have 2 rewriting / revision projects, 1 straight up revision project and 1 book in the professional edit cycle. While I'm taking a bit of break from drafting right now, normally I would have 2 of those instead of the rewrites. So how do I manage it all? I'm glad you asked, because I'm going to give you some tips about how to do it yourself. Number 1, start with 2 before adding. Most writers I know are always working on something, and the same applies here. If you're working on a drafting project and you want to throw in a revision or editing project, then go ahead and do that, but do not then add another drafting project and so on. This is my way of saying start small, make sure that you can definitely manage it before you move on to the more complicated situations. When I first started writing, I could only work on 1 thing at a time. It wasn't until much later in my career that I found I could work on 2 drafting projects. And even then, I couldn't also edit or revise. It was just too much for me, and I knew that, and I didn't want to overload myself. That's the key. Overloading yourself is not fun, and no one wants to be in a situation where the stress of it all has you close to collapse. So if you want to learn how to juggle, you don't start with hard mode, you add little things piece by piece, giving yourself a chance to work out how you work, and then you start adding 1 more. But there is nothing wrong with only being able to manage the 1 or 2 projects. You're not doing it wrong if that's the case. Number 2, keep them separate if at all possible. I am a planner when it comes to pretty much everything but writing. I'll dive into this more in a moment, but my point is simple. If you're going to be working on a project 1 day, then don't even look or think about project 2. They have to be kept completely separate. The reason for this is because it can be very overwhelming to try to revise and draft or edit, and be constantly thinking about what the next chapter you're also going to write that day is going to be about. Keeping the 2 separate allows for a little breathing room, and it makes sure that you keep your thoughts on the project actually in front of you. This has very much worked for me the whole time I've been juggling this many projects, and it's just one of those tips that I think really does matter. Number 3, make time for days off. Talking about tips that matter, this one does too. Even if you're working flat out all week and all month, you still need to make time for some rest days. I know I keep harping on about this, but would it really be a Joey video without it? Rest days, time to recharge your creative well, and practice some self-care are so very, very important. Even if it's just 1 day a week, it's enough to make sure that you're not on the go the whole time. It leaves you room to breathe, gives you a chance to really think about things, while also not having to engage that side of your brain and work. Not having any time off just leads to things like burnout, and ain't no one want that. Number 4, plan your time if at all possible. This is another one that people might have guessed would be included. As I said before, I'm a planner, and I've always been someone who was organised when it came to working out what needs to be done when. Saying that, there was a period when I came back to writing after uni that I completely threw those ideas out the window, and that sucked. I tell you this simply because if you're able to plan, then very much go for it. It can save you heartache and trouble in the long run. Now I know that some people just can't plan. Their life, their commitments, their day job and a million other things are just not conducive to being able to plan, and that's okay and valid. I simply include this because I found it exceptionally helpful to know at a glance what I'm going to be doing and when I'm going to be doing it. That's why planning has really helped me, especially when it comes to multiple projects. So if it's something you're able to try, then go for it, and if not, that's okay too. And number 5, don't be afraid to stop. Sometimes we try something and we think it's really going to work for us, and it just doesn't. It just makes our lives harder, and who wants that? So for my last tip, I thought that I would focus on the fact that doing this is not going to work for everyone, and that's just the way it goes. So even if you've tried all these tips and it's gotten to the point where you're banging your head against a brick wall and keep track of things, let me just say this. It's okay to stop. It's okay to go back to a way that does work for you. You haven't failed. You've tried something, it didn't work, and that happens. You got to work the way that works for you. So yes, while this works for me, it won't for everybody, and that's okay. All I try to do with this channel is give you tips, give you an insight of how I work, but I do not and never will expect my way to work for everyone. We're all different, and that's okay. So there we go, that's how I go about juggling multiple projects. It's something, like I said, that I've been doing for a very long time, and I've found that it works for me. But like I said, if it doesn't work for you, that's okay. So can you juggle multiple projects? Do you have any tips? Let me know in the comments down below. So that's all I've got time for today. If you want to support my channel, you can comment, like, or subscribe. I post new videos on Thursdays. You can find me all over social media, and my books are available everywhere. And you can also sign up for my newsletter. And don't forget to pre-order Cramming Chronicles: The Third Ache, which is the third in the Young Adult Urban Fantasy series. And if you do pre-order, don't forget to grab the swag. And also, don't forget to grab a ticket for Wonderland in Nottingham in July 2025, where I'll be signing books. All the links for which are listed below. Thanks for watching, and remember to keep writing. Bye.